Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekah HaKodash, and double honor to the other apostle, great millstone, who rule well, and salutation to the Most High's man in the four corners of the earth, pushing his word of sincerity and truth. And Shalom to the sisters that support and subscribe wholeheartedly to the message of deliverance and salvation of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. It's your brother, Binyam Yana, Virginia, Mississippi, with an intrinsic topic going into the trust in the Lord. You know, because when you look at your faith and your trust and your hope being elsewhere and not in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, you know, you're setting yourself up for failure. You set yourself up for letdown. You set yourself up for disappointment, and you set yourself up to lose. You know, but the elect are winners. The elect are winning over life. They're winning over the spirit. They're winning over balance, and they're constantly winning in this particular battle, in this fight of enduring until the end. And Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and your faith and your belief in Him and your trust and your confidence is what is of the utmost importance. You know, it's not people, it's not friends, it's not family. You know, it's not even you know your brother. No, it's Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai first and foremost. And as you working out your salvation with fear and trembling secondarily. And then that's when the love of others come into play. That's when, you know, the brothers come into play, your family come into play. You know, but you have to take care of your spiritual self first. You know, and when you allow your mind to be swept away by having faith and confidence in a person on earth, it's a setup for failure. And that's why in the book of Proverbs, it says that faith in an unfaithful man in time of trouble is like a broken tooth or a foot out of joint. Why? Because it cannot support you. It causes you pain. It causes you hurt. It causes you agony. It causes you distress. It causes you anxiety. It causes you depression. Who? Man. You also can add woman into that as well. And that's why, you know, as it is written, King Solomon found one man good out of 1,000, and as a righteous woman, he found 0. You know, so that shows you the ratio and the percentage of righteousness on earth. You know, both male and female is very, very, very slim. So if righteousness is very slim, then that means what? That means that the chances of you believing on Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai are very massive. They're very vast. They're very grandeur. Because that is where your faith and your trust and your confidence lies. It lies in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and not leaning towards your own understanding, not leaning towards unfaithful man, not having your faith and trust in your significant other. You know, we have to have just enough confidence in people for the ones that we have close to us that they won't do us wrong. If they do, then you cut them off. You have enough faith and confidence in your job to where you put up with it to the particular point you can't take it anymore. You cut it off and you move on. Every particular thing in life has its fill up moment. It means when you're filled up with a certain emotion that does not benefit you, then you have the ability to move around. But when it comes to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rekah HaKodash, we don't have to have that secondary option, you know, that's needed in the world. You know, it's not necessary. Because as faithful and true as Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is, us relying upon Him through that faith, through that truth, that trustworthiness, you know, then he's righteous. He's righteous to deal with us. He's righteous to be with us, right? You know, because you know, a lot of people, you know, when you look at a lot of people in the world, they've always allowed friends and family and relationships and certain things that they've had an emotional attachment to really steer them, so to speak. They allow it to be their guide. You know, that's why a lot of people are people pleasers. That's why a lot of people, you know, change their ways to seek love. You know, they change their countenance, they change their belief, they change the things that they're involved in. Why? Because of certain people around them that they place in esteem very high. They don't want them to look at them strange. They don't want them to look at them funny, or they want to be able to get along. They want to be able to fit in. You know, but Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai has set you different. So it's not about you conforming unto those that are without. It's not about you conforming for something that you want. Oh man, I really want this. Or a person that you desire. Oh, I really want that person. No, you have to accept everything that is for you. And that is people, that is things, that is a situation, circumstances, everything that Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai pinpoints for you and throws your way. You have to accept that. And you have to appreciate it. You know, whatever he's blessing you with, you know, you take care of it with the utmost care. As they say in the world, give it that good old fashioned TLC, that tender loving care. You know, because if you don't do that, if you don't take heed, if you don't take care and give it, you know what I'm saying, give it what's necessary, you know, then you really don't really have a chance. You know, you don't have a chance in being receptive of the gifts of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. You think he won't know that? Of course he will. So he'll minimize the gifts that he bless you with. You know, make them slim to none, so to speak. You know, but really the moral of the story here is placing your cares, your troubles, your trust, your burdens, all in the lap of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, all before his table. You know, because there is no person on earth that will be able to fill those voids. There's no person on earth that will be able to fill broken trust. You know, there's no person on earth that will be able to make you whole. Only Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai has that ability. So who's the best person for us to run to get that completeness, to get that wholesome spirit that we need to be able to constantly endure? It's Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And as faithful and true as he is, as faithful and true should we be unto him. You know, and it starts with having that faith and that confidence and that trust in him, in which he's well pleased in. And that's why he, you know, he's always quoting, you know, to his sons in a manner of being pleased with the prayers, being pleased with the actions, being pleased in the praise. You know, so all things are done for the good of those that love Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. So just a real quick intrinsic topic. Abba Ratazah, it was edifying, and it did something to your particular spirit to where you get to the point to where you just pray unto Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua right now, being thankful for everything, and also, grateful, because it's a lot to deal with, but at the same time, it's a lot to be happy for. Until next time, let's say shalom.